Welcome to Watches with Dennis, and today I'm reviewing the Glashütte Original, or GO, Senator Sixties, reference 3952020104. This watch is from my personal collection. It was purchased used, and I've worn it over a week at this point. The 60s line was launched back in 2007 and continues today. While this reference is in the Senator collection, today the watch actually lives in the vintage lineup. The design is heavily based off of a 1960s spasmatic model the company did back when it was known as GUB and operated in East Germany. So with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get some measurements. For watch diameter, I'm getting 39.1 millimeters. For lug to lug, I'm getting 44.5 millimeters. For watch thickness, I'm getting 9.8 millimeters. And for lug width, I am getting 19 millimeters. This watch offers 30 meters of water resistance. The watch case is 18 karat rose gold and is entirely polished, providing for an extremely classic look. The dial is a matte black, which I think complements the rose gold well and is the main aspect that drew me to the watch. The 3, 6, 9, and 12 hour markings are a stylized Arabic numeral format that appear as a form of brushstroke. The other hours are indicated with applied baton markers. The overall approach is quite minimalist, and that is reflected in the text on the dial. You can see that towards the 12 o'clock position, you will have the brand name, and then towards the 6 o'clock position is the text referencing the city that the watch was made in. Beneath the 6 o'clock position is the Made in Germany designation, and the watch overall is protected by a domed sapphire crystal, which adds to that vintage plexiglass effect. This is a time-only model, and the hands are baton style. The watch does have lume, but it is sparse. The hour and minute hands are lumed, and there is a small dot of lume around the watch next to each hour marker. Here is some footage of that lume freshly charged. The watch came on a small-scale alligator strap, which is clasped via a simple 18-karat gold pin buckle. The brand logo is on the buckle, as is the logo on the crown of the watch, if we can kind of get it into focus. The watch is entirely controlled by the crown, and the crown has two positions. So in position 0, when the crown is all the way in, you can rotate it to wind the watch. And then if you pull the crown out into position 1, the watch does hack, and you can use that to set the time. The watch does have a display case back, which is very odd in that it has a very notable boxed sapphire crystal, which I'm trying to highlight here for you so you can get a sense of just how domed this thing is. It shows off the movement, but the movement is significantly smaller than the watch case. The watch is powered by the in-house caliber 3952 movement. This is an automatic movement with 25 joules beating at 4 hertz and offering approximately 40 hours of power reserve. The rotor is skeletonized and weighted with 21 karat gold. The movement has the German 3/4 plate format with significant Glashütte striping, a double spiral on the reduction wheel, and you can see black polished screw heads, and that the watch has a swan neck regulator. It is very obvious how small this movement is when you look at it here. Rather than masking the edges to look more like the case, we instead see an obvious movement ring, which is labeled with the words automatic, Senator, and 60s at various positions. You can even see the stem of the crown going through the watch to the movement. I believe this was all done to accommodate the display crystal and its format. It's a strange approach that I'm not really a fan of. Putting this watch on my time grapher, I get an average across all 6 positions of plus 5.7 seconds per day. The range of readings were from minus 2 seconds per day to plus 14 seconds per day. Here you can see what the watch looks like on my wrist. For reference purposes, I'll note my wrist is approximately 6.75 inches in diameter. I did have to actually add a hole into the strap to accommodate my wrist size. Otherwise, the watch was a little bit too loose for me. This is something I've probably done on about 50% of my dress watches and their leather straps. So, what are my overall thoughts on this watch? I'd say 3 positives are the matte black dial complements the rose gold case very well. It has a comfortable wearing experience on the wrist, and the domed sapphire give a solid vintage vibe to the dial of the watch. And in terms of negatives, the power reserve is too low, and I am not a fan of the display caseback approach done here, which ends up highlighting just how small the movement is. So I don't really have much in the way of complaints. That display caseback decision having the domed crystal seems pointless to me, and while unique, I think the decision to show so much of the movement, including the stem, calls too much attention to how much smaller the movement is than the watch case itself. Likewise, the caliber 3952 is pretty long in the tooth at this point, and you can find lots of in-house calibers from various brands with far better power reserves for this price. But overall, I really do like this watch. It wears well on the wrist, and while the domed sapphire really complements the overall look of the watch, it doesn't cause any issues with the watch sliding under shirt cuffs given how thin the overall watch is. To me, it's very much in the proper dress watch range. This is my first dress watch with a black dial. And before I got it, I was curious if I would really like matte black or if I would have preferred something more glossy, which is what I'm more familiar with. But overall, I think the matte black makes the watch look very refined against this rose gold case. Thank you so much for watching this review video. If you enjoy the video, please give it a like as it helps the channel out. Subscribe if you'd like to be automatically notified when I release new videos. Thanks for watching and have a great day.